everyone, it's Zoe here. Thanks for joining me live again. I just wanted to get on and have a chat about two things. Firstly, a huge thank you to all of you that have signed up for the Back on Track course, the 6-week Back on Track course. I'm so excited to have you joining me while we do a little reset of our habits. And what I wanted to kind of talk about in relation to that course was I was getting asked about the pouch reset diet and does it actually work? And it's one of the reasons I put together the Back on Track course in the first place, because I wanted to kind of give everybody a different option other than just going to the pouch reset diet, which I know is very popular, especially in forums, but I just wanted to have a bit of a chat about whether it actually works or not. So if you haven't heard of the pouch reset, maybe if you're watching, can you hit like if you have heard of the pouch reset? If you haven't heard of it, it's essentially where you go back to the diet that you were on after surgery. So you go back to post-op liquids followed by purees and then a return to solids. There are a couple of different ways of doing it. Sometimes the pouch reset will be based around just going back to really plain foods like just chicken breast and doing that for a couple of days. But essentially, whichever form you look at it in, they really claim to do two things. So the first thing they claim to do is to shrink your stomach back to the size it was initially after surgery. And the second one is that it'll kickstart weight loss again after if your weight has started to plateau or if you've gained a little bit of weight. So just before I get into kind of addressing those two things, I just wanted to say, from what I can find in the literature, there are no published studies that I can find anywhere that actually have tested the pouch reset diet. What I can find is that it was essentially put together by a post-op patient, as a patient that had had a bypass. And so there's really not a lot of evidence when we're looking at whether or not it works. So we're going to go through with a little bit of logic. All right, so the first one, does your stomach stretch after surgery? Okay, does your stomach stretch? Yes. The short answer is yes. Your stomach is very stretchy. It was designed to stretch every time you eat a meal. So think of it like a sock or a tubey grip bandage. It is supposed to expand when you eat a meal and then contract again. And actually, after you've had a sleeve, there's some research to suggest that your stomach will stretch up to about 50% within the first 2 years after surgery. After the first 2 years after surgery when you've had your sleeve. However, if you think about that stretching, it's not really ever going to be likely that it would stretch back to the size it was before the surgery. So if you've had 80 to 90% of your stomach removed and then it doubles, it might end up that you end up with say 70 to 80% of what you originally had. So the fact that your stomach does stretch over time also doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to put on weight in the long term, but we'll get to that in a second. So the second one, does it shrink your stomach back? Does doing the pouch reset shrink your stomach back to the size that it was before surgery? Okay, so the first one was, does your stomach stretch after surgery? Short answer, yes. This one is, does the pouch reset diet shrink your stomach back to the size it was before surgery? And the short answer to this one is no. All right, because if you think about it, when you first had surgery, and the pouch reset wants you to go back to liquids like you had just had surgery. When you first had surgery, you had a big stomach and they took out the sac and you ended up with a little pipe and you had a wound down here, and essentially the inside of the stomach is basically all full of swelling. So it's why you couldn't eat much. It's why we make you go onto a fluid diet first and then graduate onto purees and then onto soft foods, because we're waiting for that swelling to come down and we're waiting for that wound to heal. So there's no way that the pouch reset diet can shrink your stomach back to the size it was before surgery, because you just don't have the swelling. That wound has healed. Okay, so it doesn't really make sense, that one. So the second thing that they talk about then is, will it kickstart weight loss? And I want you to ask yourself this: is Is your stomach size the only reason why you struggle with your weight plateauing or why you struggle with your weight coming back on again? Okay, because playing devil's advocate, if that was the only reason and the pouch reset diet shrunk our stomachs, then maybe we could just do away with weight loss surgery in the first place. All right. What we do know is that one of the reasons people gain weight or plateau is maybe because of what they're eating. It's maybe because of their gut microbiome, the gut bacteria. It's maybe because of your appetite. It's maybe because of your hormones. It's maybe because of your lifestyle. It's maybe because of how you eat. It's maybe because of stress. It's maybe because of sleep. And there's so much more going on other than just stomach size. Right? The reason why going back onto the pouch reset does sometimes work for people is, I think, because it is actually giving you a moment to pause and to kind of think about what you're eating, to go back to basics, and really actually you're not resetting your stomach size, you're not resetting the amount of food that you can eat, you're actually just resetting your habits. All right? Any change to your eating patterns can help you to be a little bit more mindful. It can help you to realize that you're actually not that hungry during the day. It can help you to realize that when you are hungry, a little bit of hunger is actually all right and you'll probably survive. All right. So doing the pouch reset can actually help you with a little bit of awareness around one or two or three of the reasons like why you might be stalling with your weight, or what habits are kind of contributing to that process. So overall, the bottom line is the pouch reset diet, the one that you find online, isn't evidence-based. There's no evidence to say that it works. Also, you're unlikely to get the nutrition that you need. And so if we look at what it claims, there's no way that I can kind of see logically that works. However, instead of doing a pouch reset, what the pouch reset does do is reset our habits. So we may as well just do a habit reset. All right, we may as well go back to basics in terms of what we eat, go back to basics in terms of how we eat and those eating habits. Look at our lifestyle, look at what else is going on, look at our movement, look at how we deal with stress, look at how we deal with sleep. And you want to do that in a really manageable way so that it's easy to stick to in the long term. So if you need a hand with this is what we're going to do in the Back on Track reset course. And this reset course starts in a week. So you've got one more week to sign up and then we're all going to do it together. You'll get access to the materials on Saturday, Australia time. And we'll start all together then with the goals for week 1 on Monday. So we're going to look at those 4 key pillars to successful weight loss in the long term, to keeping weight off in the long term. So we're going to look at what you eat, how you eat, your movement, and then all of those other lifestyle factors. And then we're going to look at how we deal with things like triggers and self-sabotage and how we put it all together so that we can keep that weight off in the long term. So I would love to see you in there. I'll post the link in the comment section after I finish. If you have any questions or comments or thoughts about the pouch reset, have you tried it? Did it work? Did you find something that you got out of it? Like it did actually make you be a little bit more mindful, a little bit more aware of those habits that you might have let creep back in over time? Or did it not work for you at all? Did you feel awful? Was there not enough food? Were you hungry the whole time? I'd love to hear. So pop your comments in the comments section. And if there's anything else that you'd like me to cover in these Facebook Live Q&A sessions, I'm going to go live every day this week. So if there's something that you would like me to cover, just pop a comment in or send me a private message if you'd like to, and I'll address it in one of these posts. All right, I hope to see you soon. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.